John F. Kennedy was soon to be president. The Cold War was heating up. Elvis joined the army. Cars had fins. And fashion was, well, fashion. The year was 1960, and the star of the New York Auto Show was a two-seat sports car from Sweden. Right from the start, the Volvo P1800's Gran Turismo character was welcomed in America. The talk of the 1960 New York Auto Show, the P1800 captured the attention of the American driving public. It advanced the sports car concept for the broad public from wind-in-your-face driving as a contact sport with the elements to civilized touring in a manner previously the domain of big-ticket marques like Ferrari and Aston Martin. Hundreds of people wrote checks for the full purchase price at the New York Auto Show. Those early enthusiasts would be in for a wait, however, as their P1800s would not arrive for another year. Indeed, showing one car and mass-producing many proved to be two very different challenges. Unfortunately for all those eager to buy P1800s, Volvo had a shortage of production capacity in Gothenburg and could not build them in Sweden. Enter Jensen Motors of England, a private production facility. Already producing Austin Healey's along with other limited production models for British Motor Corporation, Jensen was given a contract to produce the first 10,000 P1800s. By 1961, P1800s were at last arriving in meaningful numbers on America's shores. In road testing the P1800, Car and Driver wrote, "The outward appearance of the car expresses in smooth-flowing lines the smooth-flowing performance of the machine. From our perspective, the P1800 seems to have all the makings of a winner. From its attractive egg crate grille to its kicked-up rear fenders, it looks trim and fast, promising and delivering performance." The then-new 1.8-liter B18 four-cylinder engine with its 5 main bearings for longevity was not so much a stoplight burner as an open-road cruiser. Top speed was 105 miles per hour with a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of just over 13 seconds. Road and Track wrote, "In doing that for which it was intended, fast, steady cruising, the P1800 is superb, and it gave us the impression that it would run forever at near maximum speed." Car and Driver, in its evaluation of the 4-speed manual transmission with optional overdrive, wrote, "The 4-speed all-synchromesh transmission deals quickly and effectively with any road situation. The ratios are well suited to the engine and weight of the car, and the lever movement is crisp." Minor modifications aside, the P1800 suspension, except for the front and rear coil springs and shock absorbers, had been borrowed intact from the 122S. Tires for the P1800 were 15-inch Pirelli Cinturados. Car and Driver wrote, "The combination of tires and suspension gives the driver a distinct feeling of being able to cope with almost any situation." Carrying on the Volvo philosophy that performance does not just involve going fast, but also stopping quickly, the P1800 employed the still uncommon disc brakes in front. Drum brakes were used in the rear. Road and Track, in evaluating the P1800's braking, stated, "In at least one state and in much of the rest of the world, there are hardly any speed limits beyond those posed by the vehicle in question. The P1800 was designed with this in mind." With the opening of Volvo's Torslanda plant in 1963, production returned to Sweden. The last English-built P1800 rolled off the Jensen line in March of 1963. Interestingly, England played a large role not only in the early production, but in what was certainly the P1800's greatest source of publicity, the Saint television series. As an English hero, the Saint, as played by Roger Moore, was to drive the newly introduced Jaguar XKE. However, a white P1800 ended up the Saint's transportation when Jaguar could not deliver an E-Type, and Roger Moore took a liking to the Volvo. Indeed, for years after, Moore drove a P1800 for his personal transportation. With the beginning of production in Sweden, the car was renamed the P1800S, which it would remain until 1969. Model year 1970 saw the introduction of fuel injection, and the model designation changed to the P1800E. Since the injection system was from the German company Bosch, the E stood for Einspritz, the German word for injection. In 1971, Volvo introduced the P1800ES with the P1800E Coupe still in production. A radical departure from the classic coupe, the P1800ES offered America a unique sports wagon. Its distinctive lines, large rear glass expanse, and sporting character created an instant classic. In road testing the P1800ES, Car and Driver wrote, "What the car enthusiast will need for those long weekends is a machine that comes as close as possible to sports car handling and response. A car that won't bore him to sleep or scare him wide-eyed, but still has enough cargo room for the equipment," which is exactly the idea behind Volvo's sports wagon. With the coming of the new sports wagon, production of the coupe ended in June of 1972. Sadly, for the unique P1800ES, its stay would be brief due to forces of history and the marketplace. The introduction of new automotive standards in the United States for model year 1974 sealed the fate of the P1800 line. It would not be economically feasible to make the modifications necessary to meet the new standards. On June 27, 1973, the last P1800ES built rolled off the assembly line, leaving the P1800 as a proud part of Volvo history.